Spring is knocking on the door here in Michigan, and we are out cleaning up our woods with a Berlon Tree Puller. This is a made in the USA skid steer attachment. It's actually made in Wisconsin, to be a little bit more specific. A very heavy duty tree puller, and you are capable of pulling out up to 8.5-inch trees. You can get in there and get around these trees, but the capacity of actually picking these trees up is going to depend on your skid steer that you're using it on. We have this tree puller hooked up to a John Deere 325G, and the power and capabilities of this tree puller on this machine are absolutely amazing. You have a 19-inch jaw here, and you can see there's a very aggressive tooth up front, which is perfect because you can get on and grab things that you need to up front where it's easy to see. And if you put a little too much pressure on softwood, this will actually cut them. So you may want to move back into this area if you're using softwood, because it won't close completely and it will allow you to grab things much easier. It's nice to have two options: very aggressive teeth or not so aggressive at the back. You have a large cylinder here. This is a 1.5-inch cylinder rod, 4x4 heavy duty framing. This guy weighs 415 pounds. It does come with a hose saver on it, and you also have the ability of putting in a needle valve. Now let me show you what that looks like on my grapple. That needle valve would allow you to slow the cylinder down a little bit, which if I had the option to order this again, I would definitely do that, because it would then give you a little more precision if you're working on smaller items. This tool could be used in landscaping, it could be used in woods maintenance, it could also be used just to pull out brush. You can do just about anything with this, including fence posts. So if you're a guy who has to go through and pull a lot of fence posts, this thing is absolutely amazing. The trees we're pulling out are large. It is very wet out here, so that kind of helps us a little bit because we're able to move the roots around, but it also doesn't help us because we sink into the ground a little bit on the larger trees. You have full control of these trees, as if when you pick them up you can move them forward, drop them down. Some of these trees, while they don't look that big, are actually 30-40 feet tall, which works out well for us to be able to control how they come down. Much easier to pull these trees out like this than it would be to cut them down and have the stump still in the ground, especially when you're cleaning up a trail system or creating a new one. In other cases, we're removing autumn olives, which is an invasive species here in Michigan. So we're just going through and pulling these out with this unit, and it works very, very well, because if you're pulling these out and you have any sort of state contract, you are supposed to pull the roots and everything out of the ground so they do not grow again. In this case where we're at, we're creating a new food plot, so we want to get as much of these larger roots out of the ground before we work up that area and we don't ruin anything else. This tree puller is absolutely amazing to use. In the power and ability for you to do multiple different things with it is absolutely awesome. As I said earlier, the needle valve might help a little bit. With my hydraulics in this unit, I have to kind of tap things in a little bit and watch that I don't completely squish the very, very soft woods that I'm working with, because in some cases it did or will cut them right off. Other than that, if you're working on large trees, you just got to get a good grip. Once you got that good grip, if you have to move the tree forward and backwards, it's unlikely. But if you're working with an 8-inch tree, you're going to probably have to rock that root system slightly, and when you pull it up and you see what's underneath some of these, you will be absolutely amazed. In some cases, there's very small root balls. In some cases, there's very large ones. It's just interesting to see the different species of trees and how they grow into the ground. When we're all shopping for equipment, we're going to look at quality. We're going to look at price, and we're going to look at where it's made. I really like the quality that Berlon has with their heavy duty attachments. This thing is a lot heavier than many of the other ones out there, and that's because of the materials that they're using. Look it up. 415 pounds. You can find many out there that are going to cost a little bit less than this unit, but they will not be made with the same quality, and they will not be made in the USA. I think that's important to look at, both quality and price, in how long these are going to last while you're searching out your equipment. This is something that I am overly thrilled with, and it will last a very, very long time. As always, we are very interested in your comments or questions on this. Leave them below. I'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. Give us a like in this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have more good skid steer products coming out soon. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.